Welcome back to Vow to Heaven, where we traverse the boundaries of life and explore the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. I'm Claire, here to guide you through an extraordinary journey that transcends time itself. Today, we're delving into a story from the year 2017, a narrative that challenges the very concept of reality. If you find yourself intrigued by the profound experiences that hint at a deeper understanding of existence, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Your engagement helps us bring these significant stories to a broader audience. Michael Turner, a committed atheist and esteemed software developer, lived a life governed by logic and facts in the tech-saturated city of San Francisco. Michael's belief system was firmly rooted in the tangible, the explainable. He dismissed the notion of an afterlife as nothing more than wishful thinking, a story told to ease the human fear of non-existence. On a foggy October evening in 2017, Michael's world was literally and metaphorically turned upside down. Walking home after a late night at the office, he was struck by an ambulance speeding to an emergency, the siren lost in the cacophony of city noise. The impact was immediate and devastating, launching him into the air and down onto the cold, wet pavement of Market Street. In the moments that followed, Michael's experience defied everything he had ever believed. As bystanders gathered and paramedics scrambled to his aid, Michael found himself floating above the scene, an unseen observer to his own crisis. From this vantage point, he watched as his lifeless body was attended to, a surreal tableau that challenged the very foundations of his disbelief. The sensation of floating was accompanied by an overwhelming peace, a stark contrast to the chaos below. It was as if the noise and panic of the world had been muted, replaced by a calm that Michael had never known. This tranquility was unsettling yet oddly comforting, forcing Michael to question his long-held convictions about what happens after death. As Michael hovered in this limbo, he began to drift further away from the bustling streets, drawn towards an indescribable light. This journey through the unknown was just beginning, and the truths he would encounter would challenge the core of his skepticism. As Michael's consciousness floated toward the light, the sounds and sights of the earthly realm faded into a serene silence. He found himself moving through a tunnel, the walls of which seemed to pulse with a soft, welcoming glow. The closer he got to the light at the end, the more he felt his earthly concerns and skepticism dissolve, replaced by an inexplicable feeling of unconditional love and acceptance. Emerging from the tunnel, Michael found himself in a breathtaking vista that resembled his favorite childhood memory. A sprawling field beneath the vast, starlit sky in rural California, where he had once gazed at the stars, wondering about the universe. But this was no ordinary field. It was imbued with a vividness and a sense of peace that transcended any earthly experience. It was here that Michael first encountered the beings of light. These entities radiated pure warmth and wisdom, and they greeted him not as a stranger, but as an old friend. One of them, a radiant figure who seemed both new and familiar, approached Michael. The being communicated not through words but through feelings and images that directly impressed upon Michael's mind. "You have always been loved," the figure conveyed, a message that filled Michael with a profound sense of relief and belonging. The encounter challenged his disbelief in any existence beyond the physical, pushing him to accept that he was experiencing something deeply real, more real perhaps than anything he had known in his life before. As he interacted with these beings, Michael was shown scenes from his life, not as a judgment, but as a reflection of moments where love and kindness had prevailed, as well as those where he had turned away from them. Each scene was accompanied by a sensation of understanding and learning, as if each moment had been a lesson leading up to this point. The beings also shared glimpses of the limitless nature of existence, where life and death were merely different states of being, not the absolute ends he had always perceived them to be. This revelation was accompanied by an overwhelming sense of interconnectedness with the people in his life, with those he had lost, and with the universe itself. As Michael stood in this otherworldly field, absorbing lessons he had never anticipated learning, he realized that this journey was not just about seeing what lay beyond death. It was about understanding the true essence of life itself. In the tranquil expanse where Michael found himself, surrounded by beings of light, he was led deeper into the landscape that seemed both alien and intimately familiar. The peace he felt was profound, unlike anything conceivable on Earth. It was during this phase of his journey that Michael began to experience a series of intense revelations about the nature of life and his purpose within it. One of the beings who radiated a particularly intense light invited Michael to witness a panoramic review of human history and consciousness. Through this vision, Michael saw the birth of the universe, the rise of civilizations, and the endless cycle of human struggle and triumph. This wasn't just a lesson in history, it was an unveiling of the interconnected web of human experience where each individual's actions contributed to the collective destiny of mankind. As the visions continued, Michael was shown the potential futures that could unfold, depending on the paths humanity chose to follow. The clarity and depth of these revelations were overwhelming. He saw how each kind gesture, each moment of understanding, and each act of love echoed across time and space, shaping the future in ways that were invisible but immensely powerful. Amidst these revelations, Michael encountered a personal moment of profound introspection. He was shown his own life, not just the major events, but also the quiet moments, the missed opportunities for kindness, the withheld words of love, and the times when he allowed his skepticism to isolate him from others. This personal life review was not punitive. Rather, it was an invitation to understand the depth of his own capacity for change and growth. This part of his journey was deeply emotional for Michael. Tears streamed down his face, not from sadness or regret, but from a profound sense of awakening to the realities of love and connection. He understood now more than ever how deeply entwined all lives are, and how each choice and action reverberates through the fabric of the universe. As Michael absorbed these lessons, the landscape around him began to shift, reflecting the changes occurring within his own understanding. The field became even more vibrant, and the sky shifted through a spectrum of impossible colours, each hue transitioning smoothly into the next, mirroring the flux and flow of life itself. With each passing moment, Michael felt a growing sense of urgency, a call to take these lessons back to the physical world. He knew instinctively that his time in this transcendent place was limited, and that he would soon face a choice: to return to his body and the life he knew, or to continue on this journey, perhaps moving on to realms beyond human comprehension. As Michael continued to bask in the overwhelming peace and beauty of the ethereal landscape, he approached a point in his journey that seemed destined from the moment his spirit had left his body. Standing at the boundary between the earthly realm and the beyond, he was greeted by a new figure, a guide who radiated authority and compassion in equal measure. This guide, who appeared as a wise elder, spoke directly to Michael's soul, explaining the significance of what he had witnessed and learned. Michael, you have seen the tapestry of existence, the interwoven threads of life and consciousness. Now, you must choose whether to return to your earthly life with these insights or to continue onward, exploring deeper mysteries that lie beyond human understanding. Michael felt the weight of this decision. Returning meant facing the challenges of his physical body, the pain of recovery, and the daunting task of integrating his newfound knowledge into his daily life. However, it also offered him the opportunity to share his experience, to live out the truths he had discovered, and to potentially change the lives of others, as well as his own. Conversely, moving forward into the unknown promised further enlightenment, but would sever his ties to the earthly life he knew, including his relationships, his projects, and all that was familiar. As he pondered his choice, Michael's mind replayed the visions of interconnectedness, the impact of each human interaction, and the potential each person has to influence the world for good. It was these thoughts that tipped the scales. Michael realized that his journey wasn't just about personal enlightenment, but also about imparting wisdom and fostering connections among those still grappling with life's mysteries. With a deep, resonating sense of purpose, Michael turned to his guide. "I choose to return. I have much to do, many to reach, and a personal mission to fulfill." The guide nodded, a gesture filled with respect and understanding. "Then go, Michael, with the blessings of all you've met here. Remember what you've learned, and let it guide you in your earthly endeavors." With that, Michael felt a gentle pull, a summoning that resonated through his very essence. He was swiftly carried back along the ethereal tunnel, the light at its end gradually replaced by the stark, fluorescent lights of a hospital room. As he neared his body, he could hear the distant beeps of medical equipment and the soft murmur of voices. His perspective shifted, and suddenly he was looking up at the concerned faces of doctors and nurses. With a sharp intake of breath, Michael's consciousness rejoined his body, the pain of his injuries flooding back, but overwhelmed by an even stronger sense of hope and determination. Michael awoke in the hospital, his body a map of pain, but his spirit imbued with an unshakable purpose. The vivid memories of his journey beyond lingered in his mind, each detail as clear as if it had been etched into his soul. Despite the skepticism that had once defined him, Michael could not deny the reality of what he had experienced. He knew he had been given a second chance, not just to live, but to transform his life and perhaps touch the lives of others. As he recovered, Michael's first steps were of introspection and planning. He spent long hours in the hospital reflecting on the lessons of interconnectedness, love, and the purpose he had glimpsed during his journey. He knew that merely returning to his old life as a software developer without acknowledging the profound changes within him was impossible. Determined to share his experience and the insights he gained, Michael began writing. Initially, his writings were personal, a journal to capture his thoughts and feelings as he grappled with his new reality. But soon, this personal project grew into something more. He started a blog, sharing his experiences and insights with the world. The response was overwhelming. His story resonated with many, from those who had experienced similar phenomena to those simply curious about the mysteries of life and death. Encouraged by the impact of his words, Michael decided to expand his efforts. He organised talks and workshops, not only to share his story, but to explore the broader implications of near-death experiences and their potential to transform lives. He collaborated with researchers, psychologists, and spiritual leaders, bridging the gap between science and spirituality with his unique perspective. As Michael's influence grew, so did his projects. He authored a book titled Beyond the Veil, A Journey of Life and Death, which became a critical and commercial success. The book not only detailed his own experiences, but also included accounts from others who had returned from the brink, alongside commentary from experts in the fields of psychology, neurology, and spirituality. But Michael's efforts didn't stop at public speaking and writing. He founded a non-profit organisation dedicated to supporting others who had near-death experiences. He knew the confusion and isolation they could feel, and he wanted to provide a community where they could find support and understanding. Years passed, and Michael's life was unrecognisably richer and more fulfilling. His relationships deepened, his network expanded, and his days were filled with purposeful activities that aligned with his insights from beyond. He had once believed death was the end, but now he saw life as a continuum, with his experience as a crucial turning point. Reflecting on his journey, Michael often thought about the moment of choice he was given and the guide who had shown him the paths available. He knew he had made the right decision to return, to live out the truths he had learned, and to help others find their own paths through the mysteries of life and death. As we close this chapter on Michael's story, we're reminded of the profound impact that near-death experiences can have, not just on those who live them, but on everyone they touch. If Michael's journey has inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Let's continue to explore the mysteries of life and what lies beyond, together. Thank you for joining us on this journey with Michael Turner. Remember, the end is only the beginning of another story. Stay tuned for more stories from Vow to Heaven.